Hey everyone. Hello, Dora Hacks and Dora Factory. Thank you so much for putting together this AEZ hackathon. We are very excited to show you a tool that we have built that we are very passionate about. It is called the Cosmos Indexer SDK. I'm Dan B. I've been at DefiantLabs for the past 2 years. We build tools in Cosmos to include Sycamore tax, running validators, running relayers, and now we are going to unveil the newest application, the Cosmos Indexer SDK. I'm joined today by Peter, a guy I've been working with, and I'll let Peter introduce himself.
Hey everybody, my name is Peter. I've been working with DefiantLabs for a long time now. Mostly been on the app development side and backend indexing side. We have been working in the Cosmos indexing ecosystem for a very long time, and we've used that to pivot our expertise into the Cosmos Indexer SDK.
Thanks. So let's talk a little bit about the vision for the Cosmos Indexer. What problem were we trying to solve, and how are we solving it in a unique way?
Sure, yeah. So a few years ago, we noticed that there was a significant need in the community for expertise and taking blockchain data off the blockchain and formatting it into the required data sets that developers would need. Um, this is a very difficult problem to solve in many different ways because you have to efficiently query the data and format it into the proper format that you needed. And it's not an easy problem to solve, but we had the expertise after having doing it for a very long time. So we decided to take those expertise and put out a tool for the Cosmos ecosystem to index the blockchain into whatever format that they need.
Awesome. And the real value that I see in it is that it allows people who have front-end developers who have lots of experience creating like pretty web apps, but don't have experience with how Cosmos indexing works, and it allows them to just still work on building apps around Cosmos data without needing to understand the structure of it necessarily. They can use our SDK to bring the data into their web app rather than having to bring on a second person who's also an expert in understanding how Cosmos data is structured.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. So, we put the time and effort for the past few years to understand those things to the fullest extent, as deep as we could. And we have taken those understandings and built them directly into the application, uh, efficiently querying the blockchain, taking that data in the format that we know it, and we built that directly into the indexer. So um, users of the indexer can take advantage of our expertise, all the experiences that we've had building this application, and spend the time building web apps using the data sets that the indexer takes in.
So one of the really cool things about this application is there's a lot of data on Cosmos chains, and you don't necessarily always need to index everything. Some of these chains are humongous, like 14 terabytes of data. And sometimes you don't need all the data, you just need a subset of data. And we came across a really unique use case where we could do exactly that. The Atom Accelerator just hosted an election for choosing the next candidate to join their team. And we thought that this was an awesome opportunity to showcase what our application can do. We thought, hey, we know there's going to be 3 proposals. We know where the block starts, where the block ends, and that all we care about is the proposals. We don't care about any of the staking rewards or anything else that happened on Cosmos Hub during this period of time. We only care about how the votes were, who participated, and collecting those metrics. So the real beauty of this tool is that in less than 24 hours of coding time, we were able to build an entire application, which I'm going to share with you guys right now, as well as it's linked in the buildle description below. And I'm sharing right now. So this was an application that Peter developed for us. And it's based solely on governance participation for 3 different proposals. And Peter, would you like to talk a little bit about like what we're looking at here?
Sure, yeah. So as Dan mentioned, there was an on-chain election with 3 different proposals for the oversight committee member, the latest member that was going to be onboarded to the team. So what we're looking at right now is a end-to-end run of the indexer across a number of blocks or across the time of the election itself. We were tracking the voting patterns of the three proposals, 920, 921, and 922, and pulling on-chain data for all of those proposals at every block.
And the
Um,
real beauty of this, right, is that like as the proposals were going, the election's over now, by the way, but as the proposals were going, we were seeing these charts be created in real time. And the entire past 2 weeks, we've been able, I think it was 2 weeks, the entire proposal time, we've been able to see how the race was going.
yep. Yeah, exactly. So what you're looking at is a very small subset of the blockchain, and which is something that Dan pointed out previously. Uh, this app only cares about these three proposals, only the voting patterns on those three proposals. So while the blockchain was indexing itself, the node was running, we were pulling that very small portion of the data off of the blockchain and throwing it into the web app here.
Yeah, and one thing you guys might be wondering about is, hey, why didn't you just use a normal block explorer that shows these results? And that's one of the really cool things about this as well is this was a unique proposal where it didn't matter if the proposal actually passed and it wasn't a multiple choice proposal. It was basically saying, hey, we are going to do this election based off the total number of Atom yes votes. So that's exactly what we coded. We didn't care if the proposal passed. We didn't care if someone voted no, if someone voted veto, if multiple people voted yes. All we cared about was just the total number of Atom that voted yes on each person. And that's what we display here for Clyde, for Grace, for Matt. And then we also show down below all the different votes that have happened. And that's really just showcases the flexibility of this tool that you can basically take any data and represent it however you want very quickly. So as we mentioned, it was very simple and quick to build an app. And there's lots of really cool ideas out there for other applications that people could build. And that's one of the things that we would like to support and encourage people to use our tool for. Peter, would you like to share one example of like another application that would be interesting to build on the SDK?
Yeah, sure. So one of the ideas that Dan and I have been playing around with for a while now is a DeFi monitoring and alert system. So there's a lot of various metrics across the blockchain that users might be interested in, whether it's liquidity or trading volumes, price movements, things like that. So this would be a perfect use case for the Cosmos Indexer, which would watch block by block, finding these metrics on chain as they come up in real time, and allowing the developer to define thresholds that will alert some system downstream based on these thresholds. This is a perfect example of usage of the Cosmos Indexer because it is well suited to watch the blockchain in real time and keep up and in real time alerts or create metrics based on those patterns. I thought that was a
Awesome.
pretty good use case. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the other ones that I'm really excited about is all these NFT marketplaces. So we could, using the SDK, we could easily watch things like, hey, NFT that are being minted, trading kind of trends, what collections are trending and being popular. Like, there's all sorts of things that could be done with the SDK. It's really unlimited on what you could do. So if you're building anything like this out there, please reach out to us and we would be happy to show you how you can use the SDK to accelerate your development on bringing these cool features to Cosmos.
Yep.
Okay, so why support this initiative? So we want more awesome applications to be developed in Cosmos. So the more that we can do to make that easier for developers, the better. So really what we're looking for is we are looking for additional funding to do three main things. The first is there's a whole bunch of development improvements that we want to do. I'm going to jump into those. The next is we think that training is very important. So we would like to host 5 different workshops through the rest of 2024, working with multiple developers to show them how to build a sample application using the indexer. We are thinking this is going to be around a 5 to 8 hour workshop. We are going to make sure that it's well prepared, outlined, that the developers have everything that they need to start, and they can just come with their laptops, log into our environment, and they can learn how to build Web3 applications using our Indexer SDK. And then the third thing we need funds for is we're going to provide support for the real applications that these developers are building. So what we're asking for in total is $35,000. for all of the development features, 15,000 for the 5 workshops, so that's 3,000 per workshop, and 10,000 for 100 hours of support through the developers, which would be things like responding to tickets, getting onto one-on-one Zoom calls, helping them troubleshoot to bring applications to the Cosmos ecosystem. All right, so as you might notice, we've also received funding in the past for building out what we just showed you already, which was the initial V1 of the Cosmos Indexer, which was used to build the elections dashboard. And thank you very much to the Atom Accelerator team for helping us with this. And these are the areas that we really want to focus on. And I'm going to let Peter talk about the major changes that we want to go into here.
Sure. Yeah, so there are 3 really core features that we want to work on over the next few quarters. The first is a more flexible database integration. In order to get the app up and running quickly, we had decided to use the Gorm library and make a dependency on a PostgreSQL or Postgres database for all of the indexed data sets. And we've realized that this does not add as much flexibility as developers against the SDK would want. As part of this proposal, we would build this flexibility directly into the application, allowing people to roll their own databases, bring their own database to the indexer, their own connections, that kind of thing. And we think that this will really improve the use cases. Yeah, the second feature that we want to work on, and this is more of a testing than a feature, is our application, our code base has a good amount of tests built into it at the moment, but it doesn't have a comprehensive end-to-end test. We've been thinking about this for a while, how to achieve this, and why we would want to do it, and we think it would be a very good way to spend our time because we could guarantee the indexer works in real world use cases. And for this part, we would be using the tool called local interchain to spin up a blockchain locally and run tests against it. This would allow us to have the confidence to ensure that any change we make to the application won't break use cases later on down the road.
And the real advantage to this, right, is that when your application is dealing with live data and is public out there, you want to have a high assurance that it's going to work as you expect it to. You don't want to realize that you made a mistake with how you query your proposal and then your application isn't show live. So being able to do this behind the scenes, spinning up test versions of blockchains, even with like real historic data, is a very great way to test.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And then this third one is really the meat of everything. As many of you guys know, a lot of the Cosmos blockchains out there, they all share some similarities. Like a lot of them allow you to send tokens back and forth. They allow you to do things like staking. But there's also a lot of unique things in every single blockchain, whether it be like the GAM module in Osmosis that allows doing swaps, whether it be, what are some other good examples? Minting NFTs. So like every single blockchain out there has some commonality, which for the most part we support already, but there's going to be so many specific things to just individual blockchains. And we really want to focus on finding the ones that are of most value to people, where we can truly understand, hey, we understand how all these different COSM, WASM contracts work on these different ecosystems and how to record that data. Are there any additional thoughts you have on this one, Peter?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, there's 100 or so different blockchains at this point in the Cosmos ecosystem. At least that's the last figure that I heard. And all of them are doing things slightly differently, but they all have the Cosmos SDK as a base module. That's just how it works. So our application, of course, obviously supports the Cosmos SDK, but we would need to do some development and research around custom chain modules that these blockchains are developing in order to bring the rich support that we would need for all of these modules into the app. And that's something that we want to do as part of this this proposal here is actively develop, meet with users, interface with blockchain developers to understand these modules so we can bring support for them into the future.
Exactly. Yeah, and then on top of the development, we briefly mentioned, we do want to host online workshops. And we think these are going to be crucial to basically get a couple of developers excited about building applications, feeling comfortable with it. So if you are a developer and you are interested in doing one of these workshops, please reach out to me. I'm at DefiantDanB on Twitter, or you can just reach out to our company at DefiantLabs on Twitter. And we will be happy to send you information about these workshops and where and when they will be happening. In addition to the workshops, we think there's going to be a big need for developer support. So as you guys are trying to build applications, we will be available. You can book time with us through one-on-one sessions. We'll provide weekly AMAs on Twitter where you can just come in at any point for an hour and ask us anything about the Indexer SDK, and Peter and I will be able to address that. And then also GitHub support. So if you notice any issues with Indexer, just file a ticket and we will be responding to them. And that's really what we're hoping to achieve with this funding. We hope that you guys are all excited about this as we are. And just wanted to say a huge thank you again to the Dora Hacks and Dora Factory people. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks again.